Welcome back. It's day 6 and Jacob's come back to join us again. I'm stoked that he's here. Okay, so today we're going to continue with our truthfulness, Satya theme, and we're going to learn a new principle of movement. So for this one, I want you to start off on your back. Lie down onto your back and Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees wide apart. Open up your arms at your side into cactus position. Just let the chest open. Take a few moments here to shift gears for your practice. Let whatever's been taking up your mind space, just let that drop and come into your body and watch your breath. Okay, then bring your knees together. So as promised, we're going to start to work on getting more subtle throughout this challenge. So today, I want to teach you about your leg pit. What is your leg pit? Well, just like you have an armpit, you have leg pits right here. And when you move your leg, those want to tense up. And what happens when they tense up, it'll pull your whole spine with it. So we're going to try to release from the pit of your leg to help to elongate the spine like we've been practicing. So bring your right leg up into tabletop position. Bring your hands to the back of your right leg. And then slowly start to bring this leg closer towards you as the pit of your leg releases down, as if I had a strap across the crease of your hip and I was pulling down, and especially letting the groove crease pit release. Then see if you can bring that leg a little closer. But if the leg pit jumps up, your lower back will push down into the floor. So don't let that happen. Keep the lower back long. Then stretch the left leg out along the floor. Keep releasing that leg pit away from you so the lower back and the neck stays long. Good. Then set that right foot down and change legs. Bring your left leg in towards you. Slowly start to increase how close you're bringing the leg towards the chest without that leg pit coming up. And then start to stretch your right leg out along the floor. Reach to your right heel, descend your right thigh. Good. Then release the leg, stretch your arms straight up. Left leg in tabletop. Good. Let the arm bones drop down into the socket as the muscles elongate, and raise that right heel up 1 inch. Lengthen your tail. Good. Now slowly stretch your left arm back towards the wall behind you without the shoulder blade coming up by your ear. Slowly change sides. Bring the right knee up and stretch your left leg as your right arm reaches back. Slowly change sides. Slowly change sides. Keep going side to side now. And as you're doing this, you're feeling that those leg pits are releasing so that your hips can lengthen. It's just a little more subtle action. Good. Last round. All right, then bring the arms and the legs up. Bring your fingers behind your ears and let's work flexion. So curl yourself up. So now you're working your rectus abdominis more. And then slowly send your left leg forward without losing that crunch in your abs. Slowly change sides. Slowly change sides, and let's add a twist while we're doing flexion. So now turn your left chest towards your knee and change sides. And change sides. Change sides. Last round. Good, come back to center, lower your head and lift your legs straight up. Hold those legs straight up and then lift your hips up off the mat. Hold, feel those low abs work and then crunch up to your knees. Hold there for 5. You got it, stay with it. Keep those hips up. 4, 3, 2, crunch up 1 more inch. 1. Good job, lower yourself down. Let's just do a little stretch here now on your back before we stand up. So take your feet the width of your mat and then let your knees swivel over to the right. Just a little stretch, let the chest open. And over to the left. And come back to center. Then hug your knees into your chest. Roll up to seated. And take downward facing dog. Your first down dog of the day. So you learned a lot of actions in down dog. Today, practice feeling. Notice the tight parts. Notice the open parts. Then imagine that I had a rope right across the tops of your thighs and I was lifting up and back for you. Let the tops of the thighs release up and back. And then lengthen through your ribs towards your hands. As you stretch through your hands, get even more space. Good. Walk your feet all the way up to the front of your mat. Put a little bend in your knees and let your head drop. Remember, you can bend your knees as much as you need to let those hamstrings release. So that the whole back of the spine can flex evenly. Inhale, flat back position. Come up on your fingertips. Reach your chest forward. Exhale, fold deeper. Then bring your hands onto your hips and come all the way up to stand. Good, tree pose. Bring your right heel up onto your left inner thigh. Bring your heel up as high as you can, maybe up to your groin. If it's not possible to get the leg up that high, no worries. You can go below the knee and just work on turning your leg. Then join your palms together and stretch from your right inner leg towards your knee. And as you feel that leg pit groin release towards the knee, you might be able to feel a grip that comes in your outer right hip. That's good if you can feel that. Then raise your arms up. Bring your arms down, lower your leg down. Change sides. Slide that left heel up. And then once you get your foot up, whether it's above or below the knee, hands at prayer. Now start to release from the leg pit towards the knee. And if you can feel it release well, you might be able to feel that grip that comes in your outer hip. Then raise your arms up once you're steady. Stay even on your right foot. Bring your arms back down and lower your leg down. Good, then turn to your right. Take your legs wide apart. Spread your arms out. Turn your left toes in a little, turn your right leg all the way out. Bend your knee and go forearm to thigh, left arm overhead, extended side angle. Back heel like it's pinned against a wall, reach to the heel. Right thigh, just like in tree, same actions. Leg pit towards the knee so you feel the grip come in the outer hip. Then elongate the spine just like in mountain, as long as you can. Lift your belly, come back up, warrior two. Triangle pose, straighten your right leg and reach out. Okay, it's gonna get tricky now. We're gonna combine those last two poses and create a balancing poses, both poses. These words aren't making sense. We're gonna try balancing pose next. Put your left hand on your hip, bend your right knee. Now look down and put your right hand, block a foot in front of your pinky toe. Step up to balance on your right leg. Step that back foot in and up. Okay, so the first thing, you check the right thigh and turn it so that the center of the thigh still points straight ahead like mountain. Then this back heel, you're gonna lift it an inch above your pelvis. Reach through your back foot like it's pressed up against the wall. Then take your side ribs and reach them forward away from your hips as your hips reach straight back. All those same gross actions that we learned, hips and ribs. Now the more subtle action is from that leg pit, release towards your knee without letting your inner ankle sink on your right foot. I know it's getting super complicated. The last part, see if you can turn these back ribs down into your right hand and take your left arm straight up. Good job. Now bend your knee and as smooth as you can, let's go right into warrior two, as graceful as possible. Straighten your right leg, nice job. Turn your feet to the other side. All right, then modified side angle. Bend your left knee, elbow to thigh, right arm over. Okay, so now here's a little tip. For that one, if it wasn't very steady for you, you can practice it with your back against the wall or with that back foot against the wall. And I'll work on showing you that variation later. But you can always do back against the wall, that's fine. Okay, good. Then come back up, warrior two. Straighten your left leg. Turn that thigh all the way and reach out for triangle. Good, so in triangle we've established how to turn the thigh while straightening the leg. So now we're going to integrate that in a balancing pose. Right hand on your hip, bend knee, slide hand a foot in front of your pinky toe and raise back leg up. Look at that left thigh, make sure it's turned so it's pointing straight ahead again. Even on your left foot, your root, and now lift this right heel an inch above your pelvis and reach to that foot like it's against the wall. The hips reach back with it evenly, lengthen your side ribs forward, reach your chest forward. Then the last part, turn those back ribs down and take your right arm up. Good, now as smooth as you can, bend your left knee and slide right back into warrior two. You got it. Find warrior two, tall through your spine. And then straighten your leg. Turn your toes in so your feet are parallel. Hands on your hips, turn the shoulders back, inhale. Exhale, fold forward in between your legs. Set the fingertips down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold deeper. Okay, pretty cool. So those externals work up to balancing. Next, as we progress in our sequence, we're going to start to learn neutral standing poses and eventually work up to balancing neutral poses again. So if this is nothing new for you, if you already did last year's challenge, that's okay. It's still good to go back to the basics. I do this all the time in my own practice. And I learn the basic poses again, and I always have something new about the pose that I didn't know before when I go back to it. So don't feel like you're wasting your time or doing something that is below your level. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands onto your hips. Reach down to your feet and come all the way up to stand. All right, then step up to the top of the mat, and I've set up these blocks here on the tallest height. Stand in between blocks on their tall height in front of your mat. Then fold forward, put your fingertips on the blocks. Step your left foot back about 3.5 feet. Okay, then adjust the blocks right under your shoulders. So blocks are not a fix-all. In fact, sometimes many people, in fact, it would be better with their hands up on a chair seat or way up onto the fingertips on the blocks. But what we're trying to do is get a totally flat spine here, flat back, long spine. So if you don't have a chair and you only have blocks, you can always bend the right knee a little bit to get the length of the spine. But eventually we're trying to work this part of the spine long while growing the legs as long as we can. And just work that. Really important to be able to hold in Parsvottanasana. Feel the length of the spine, grow the hips out of the back. All right, then spin your back heel up, lift it up, and step forward now. Fold forward for a breath, just let your head rest. Inhale, come back up onto the blocks on your fingertips. Take a step back with your right foot. All right, so a nice long step, about 3.5 feet. Start off, let's just err on the side of having that knee bent a little bit to help us lengthen through the spine. So wherever you have a peak in your spine, that's a place where that spine isn't getting as much health as the other parts. So we want to, as we train that spine to get as long as we can while stretching the legs, that's going to be the most beneficial, as opposed to jamming your legs straight and just forcing yourself into the pose. I'd rather see someone with a little bend in the knee and this nice length of the spine, because I know that they're actually training the whole back body instead of just locking, jamming into one part. So now that you've been here for a little bit, if you can breathe this leg a little longer, draw from the inner knee up into the hip socket, stretch to your inner foot, but keep lengthening here. That looks good, okay. Then spin your back heel up, step your back foot forward, and let your head drop all the way. Inhale, flat back, lengthen yourself out. Step back to downward facing dog. Inhale into plank pose. Set the knees down. Chaturanga prep. Shift forward and lower slowly. For 1, come back up. 5 today. 2, come back up. 3, back up. 4, you're doing good, stay with it. 5, good. Then come up, lie all the way down onto your belly. For upward facing dog prep, point your toes back. Come into low cobra. Turn the outer thighs down to the floor and roll your chest. Now feel the shoulder blades, they come from the sides. They want to hang onto the back and round off like I'm showing. Draw them onto your back like Jacob's doing instead. Slide the hands all the way back under your elbows. Now open the hands evenly into the mat, and let's try upward facing dog today now. Roll yourself up. Draw those shoulder blades back onto your back again. Turn the outer thighs down, lift from your belly up to your chest, and then lower back down onto your belly. Great job. If that feels like too much strain on your lower back, that can be a lot depending on what's going on with your spine. You can just stay in low cobra instead. Stretch back to child's pose. Let your head rest. Breathe. All right, then sit with your legs stretched out in front of you. Dandasana. Cross your legs in front of you, just simple cross-legged twists. Grow the spine upright and twist to your right. Come back to center and twist to your left. Come back to center, put the hands in front of you, and then start to walk the hands forward and rest your forehead on a block. So you can adjust the block so it's just the right spot for you to be able to release onto it. But I want you to be able to feel this, again, a more subtle aspect of the practice, is that when you rest your forehead onto something, that it helps to trigger the relaxation response. You could feel that the back of the spine and the neck are able to relax in the pose. And eventually we look for these different qualities that I'll be teaching with props to be able to access them even when we're not using the prop. But initially we learn them with the prop. We learn to have even more ease in effort. Come back up, change the cross of your legs, and fold forward again. Feel the stretch in your hips. Breathe into the stretch of the hips. Inhale back up. Then lie down onto your back for corpse pose. Turn the palms up. Let the feet fall open. Then gently bend your knees and roll to your right side. Press yourself up to seated. Sit up tall. Join your palms together. Thank you. Namaste. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching today. Thanks again to Jacob for practicing with us. And I'll see you tomorrow.